Wow. Vasyl Lomachenko accuses the judges of bribery in his loss to Teofimo. But this video is more about his comments to Devin Haney. He became the franchise champion, skipped over fighting Devin Haney, now with another loss to Teofimo. He did answer that question. We're going to talk about what he said. Stay tuned to this video. Smash the like button. Yo, what up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to my channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash App, and the Patreon family. We working. Cash App is $Boxing Ego. Shout out to everybody for their support. Let's kick off the video. Now, you guys seen it from the title. Lomachenko finally discusses Devin Haney. This is a fight that should have already happened. Lomachenko was the WBC champion, and the WBC mandatory was Devin Haney. Devin Haney also wasn't given, per Lomachenko's team, Top Rank, the opportunity. He signed to Eddie Hearn thinking he was going to get the Luke Campbell fight, but Top Rank, they placed a call to WBC, petition their side, and they got the fight. So Devin Haney got skipped over from the Luke Campbell, spot, robbed of an opportunity. WBC and Top Rank have a good relationship, so Lomachenko fought Luke Campbell. Then after he beat Luke Campbell, Loma was supposed to fight Devin Haney. That was his mandatory. Devin Haney had went through all the protocols. And like I've been telling you, you guys can say whatever you want, but this is something that we continually see happen to black fighters in the sport, like Jermall Charlo, things like this, getting looked over and not getting the mandatory, and it's very flagrant. So needless to say, Lomachenko didn't fight Devin Haney, moves on, and he had like a confusing undisputed, because it wasn't really undisputed, because the WBC created a franchise champion status for Lomachenko, which they previously said was non-transferable, and then they did one for Canelo and they said it was non-transferable, and then they gave one to Lomachenko, and then a year later they turn around and say, hey, Teofimo versus Lomachenko, the winner of that fight, no matter if it's Loma or Teofimo, can win the WBC franchise champion. So they're just making up the rules as they go. That much is apparent. So now that we're caught up to speed, Lomachenko fought for a fake undisputed because Devin Haney's still out there with the WBC. You got people who are bad-mouthing Devin Haney, calling him the email champ, this, that, and the third, but I don't want to hear it. At the end of the day, fight him, take that belt, and, you go about your business. But if they're not fighting him, then I don't care about the email champ and all these slights and jabs at Devin Haney, So as it goes, Teofimo beat Lomachenko. That was his kind of coming out party. And now Lomachenko is saying that the judges were bribed. He's saying the judges, there was bribery. He was basically set up. He feels he won the fight. And now I'm going to make a separate video about that because I really want to focus in on the Devin Haney angle. He basically, in this video you guys see on the screen, you guys can find it and take a listen to it. But it's a brand new interview. It's a long, lengthy interview, exclusive. And he's saying that the judges were bribed and somebody was out to get him. And anybody who watched the fight should have had him winning. It's out of nowhere. So it looks like Lomachenko's having difficulty embracing or accepting that loss, which is ironic because, again, look at how African-American fighters are treated in the sport. Deontay Wilder allegedly said something about his suit, which I've never seen a video for or anything. I've never seen Wilder actually suggest that his suit was the reason he lost to Tyson Fury. And that was the running narrative, and people shamed Wilder as a result. They said, oh, what do you mean the suit, or you're full of it, blah, blah, blah. And Lomachenko is on videotape, and he's saying that, hey, I went into the fight injured, which he later said he had a shoulder surgery. He said he had shoulder problems. Now he's switching his standpoint, saying the judges were bribed and this was a disgrace and somebody set him up. So that's his own issue. I'll make a separate video about that. But it's just funny that Deontay Wilder, when he says whatever allegedly about the suit and Tyson Fury's glove, people say, oh, Wilder's just making excuses. But Lomachenko is saying they are afraid because they know I had an injury and I would not be the same, and it won't be the same without injury. So Lomachenko can make excuses, if that's what we're calling them, when he's stating his side and not embracing the loss and just accepting the defeat. Now, he did say some things about Devin Haney, and I thought it was pretty significant, which is why I'm making this video. I got the slideshow queued up for you guys so you guys can look. So Lomachenko was asked, it was a good question by the host, shout out to him, but the host asked him, he said, what about Devin Haney? Would you consider a Devin Haney fight? Now, Lomachenko did say in this particular interview that the guy that was doing the interview works for the Lomas official Instagram page, which has a lot of exclusive content, and they speak the same native tongue and stuff like that. He says he only was doing interviews after the Teofimo loss with certain people. He specifically made this a point, and he specifically made it a point to say that he didn't just give anyone an interview and do an interview with anyone because some people would twist his words and, spin his words. And he says, I know you personally. So since I know you personally, I know you're good for it. Right. So for the sake, keeping that at heart, so I don't twist his words, I created this slide so you guys can see. And these are the subtitles that this trusted site that he gave the exclusive to. This is what they said the subtitles were. So if somebody speaks the same language and one of the translations were off, this is what they included in the video. So that has to be clear because Lomachenko says that certain people, they'll misquote him. So I'm not trying to do that. That's not what my channel is about. So we're going to go over what he actually said according to the subtitles that were included in this exclusive that Lomachenko trusts. So regarding Devin Haney, another thing to keep in mind, he made a statement in this particular video saying, I'm not going back down to 59 kilograms, which is 130 pounds. I got business to finish up here. So there's a lot of boxing media because Lomachenko has the complexion for the protection, and they're urging and begging and pandering to the fans, gullible fans, saying that Lomachenko is too small and he's really a featherweight, trying to explain away his second loss. But Lomachenko in this video, which you guys will see the subtitle, he specifically said he is not going back down to 130 until he gets what he wants out of 135. So that just puts to bed all these excuses about why he lost to Teofimo, because Teofimo was way too big, and the excuse that Lomachenko is really a featherweight. Furthermore, if you actually know boxing, you would know that Lomachenko fought above 131 pounds as an amateur before he turned pro. So he's not as small as people are saying. So I knew that was cap. But let's get into what he said about Devin Haney. The last thing I will say before I cue this up is it was interesting. After saying he would not go to 59 kg, which is 130 pounds, he was later asked about Devin Haney, and then his attitude almost changed. But you guys will see it on the screen. Leg out. He said, I'm not going back down to 59 kg, which is again 130 pounds, until I'm finished here. This is the subtitle that it said directly. Then it says, what about a possible fight with Devin Haney? The host asked Lomachenko. I understand that this information comes from Lopez about the media, but still. Then he says, are you actually considering it with Devin Haney? This is Lomachenko's response and reaction when he was asked about Devin Haney. So he just said he's not going to 130. Then he gets asked about Devin Haney. He immediately blamed Bob Arum. I'm not sure if Bob is able to make the fight. I'm reading directly. It says, I don't might to fight with him. So I think they meant I don't mind to fight with him or with somebody else. So he says, I'm not sure Bob is able to make it happen. I don't mind to fight with him or with somebody else. So he was asked a direct question about Devin Haney, and he says, I don't know if Bob Arum can make it. I don't mind fighting with him or somebody else. But it was a direct question about Devin Haney. Wow. And these are the legit subtitles that were included. Lomachenko went on to say, the point is that everyone works with different platforms. Haney and Hearn are boxing on DAZN. This is what Lomachenko said. He's saying they're on a different platform. Everyone's boxing on different platforms. Again, the point is that everyone works with different platforms. Haney and Hearn box on DAZN. And we're on ESPN. If they manage to organize the fight, then I don't mind. And this is his facial expression. He said, they're on DAZN and we're on ESPN. If they manage to organize the fight, then I don't mind. Wow. So that's Lomachenko's reaction and response. Look at his face. I try to look at all the body language. To me, it doesn't seem like he's too hyped about fighting Devin Haney. I will say that. It doesn't sound like he's chomping at the bit to fight Devin Haney. Maybe he doesn't like the style. Devin Haney's youthful. But just looking at his facial expression, he says, I don't mind fighting with him or somebody else. But it was a direct question about, would you consider fighting Devin Haney? And it was funny because he was specifically asked about dropping back down. And he said, I don't want to go back down to 130, 59 kilograms because I got business here. But then as soon as the conversation said, hey, what are you going to do next? Like, what if you can't get Teofimo rematch? They said they don't want to rematch you. And he even said in this interview that he doesn't think Teofimo will want the rematch because he believes Teofimo, his team somehow knew he was injured and he's seeking revenge and they know it won't be the same in the rematch. So he's thinking Teofimo and his dad, his trainer and dad, won't want to even take the rematch. So if you're not going to 130, why wouldn't you fight Devin Haney? He's still a champion and he has a WBC belt and you're no longer the franchise champion, and it's a great fight for boxing. Man, it's looking bad for old media. The other thing that's looking bad is when I make videos and statements where I'm saying Crawford's with ESPN, right? Crawford's with ESPN and Lomachenko is with ESPN. I'm the bad guy because people say they want to see Crawford. Just listen to this. When people say they want to see Crawford Spence, they say, who cares about the business? Or are you a boxing fan or are you a businessman? When I'm telling you the actual realities, when people, this fake agenda that we're seeing and people are pushing for one fight for Terrence Crawford, like Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence, what do? They say, oh, who cares about the business, and they should be able to make the deal. But now you have Lomachenko with the complexion for the protection, and he literally just told you Team Haney, Devin Haney, and Eddie Hearn, they're over there on DAZN, right? And we're over here on ESPN. So I don't know if Bob Arum can make that. So let's unpack this. Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn just worked together on Kubrat Pulev versus Anthony Joshua. True, that was a mandatory, but they just worked together, and we all watched that a week or so ago. They've also worked together on Oscar Rivas versus Dillian White. They also worked together on Maurice Hooker when he was with DAZN and Eddie Hearn, and they had Jose Ramirez, an ESPN champion, come over to fight in a unification with Maurice Hooker. So they have an existing working relationship, and Lomachenko's out here saying, I don't know if the business, if they can actually manage it. But meanwhile, we haven't seen PBC really work together with Top Rank in an ESPN fight outside of Wilder Fury. And that was kind of by choice because they had to work together because they already had history before Top Rank was even involved in Tyson Fury's career. And the first fight ended in a draw. So that's independent to any other situation. So I named unifications and mandatories, other fights where Bob Arum and Eddie Hearn have worked together. But you have Lomachenko, who's basically saying, I don't know if it can be organized. So what's the difference when it comes to Terrence Crawford? People are saying, hey, Terrence Crawford, he's out here believing he's the A side too, which creates another complication because, like I said, there's no way he's the A side. He's a great fighter, terrific, but there's no way he's the A side in that regard. And Errol Spence also has opportunities with potentially Manny Pacquiao, who Terrence Crawford himself is seeking. So as you guys could see, Ego Stradamus strikes again. Regarding Lomachenko, he didn't seem ecstatic. You guys watched the interview. Let me know what you guys think in the comment. But he said he's not going to 130, and then as soon as Devin Haney's so you're not going to 130. You don't think Teofimo and his dad want the rematch because they knew you were injured. But Devin Haney keeps barking up that tree, calling you out, and you pretty much avoided him, you and your team, which you didn't claim in becoming the franchise champion. And then now he's saying, oh, they're on DAZN and we're on ESPN and yada, yada, yada. I don't know, man. Aside from this, I got to do another video. Lomachenko seems like he's taking the loss very hard in this particular fight. He's calling for a bribery. He's saying he got bribed in there and like the judges were paid off. He's not really explaining much. He's saying his shoulder was injured. He said, I think the last 6 rounds were okay for the legs, blah, blah, blah. It's just so many contradictions and double standards. Like I said, when Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, right? Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder allegedly makes suit excuses and stuff. Everybody's down his throat saying he's making all the excuses, take the loss like a man, blah, blah, blah. And then Lomachenko saying his shoulder, he's saying that it was corruption and they were bribed. And he really didn't even do anything for the first 7 rounds. So in that case, Teofimo's gloves look fine. It's nothing like Tyson Fury's gloves that look deformed and concaved. And he's just saying that he won because he said he won or it should have been a draw. Based on what though? You didn't do anything for 7 rounds. And then that makes sense if it's just like you can't have your cake and eat it too. You say your shoulder was bad, so maybe that's why he didn't do anything for 6-7 rounds. Who knows? But then you're saying you beat him. So you beat him with the bum shoulder. He's saying he did enough to win. I mean, it's looking bad for Lomachenko. But let me know what you guys think. I want to see the Devin Haney fight. That's a good fight. Devin Haney, he still has stuff to prove. He's a young gun. But, I'm not really convinced that we'll get that fight based on Lomachenko's response and how he responded. But you guys interpret it in the comment section. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego. And one last thing, ESPN Plus, use my link. It does help the channel when you guys click on that. ESPN Plus, they offer a ton of original content, docuseries, documentaries, archive footage fights like Teofimo and Lomachenko and more. ESPN Plus as a standalone is $5.99 as a standalone app, or you can get the bundle ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. And Disney Plus just announced a monster schedule. The Mandalorian's coming back among some brand new shows. So if you want to get a part of that, click the link in the description. ESPN Plus, get the bundle. That's $12.99. ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three of them. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. Now I seen on your Instagram last question that it says name 5 people that you could fight, like dream fight. And you said Lomachenko, and you tagged him.
Lomachenko, 2 more.
Like Dylan.
Yeah.
Why you want to fight him?
Because everybody think he the boogeyman or something. Like, they all scared of him. Listen, where I'm from, the bullies get bullied, period. So, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I'll fight Lomachenko.
Why do you think you match up well with him? You getting big too. I see you spar in Oakland, like, I don't know, you might have been 16. Yeah. But I see you getting bigger, man.
Yeah.
So what you got for Loma?
I feel like my style will match up good with Lomachenko because I'm able to make adjustments. These guys that he fighting are just fight one style, and they try to come at him and try to rough him up. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to be versatile and be able to make adjustments, and that's what I have.
All right. Where can the fans follow you?
Instagram, Twitter, Real Devin Haney.
All right. Look forward to it. Peace out. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.